Today's lesson gets back to the business of show business. And this is about writing genre and high concept. The marketplace for screenplays and what it needs and sometimes demands in terms of content has always gone through cycles due to a combination of factors. In times of hardship, economic downturn, for instance, traditionally you've seen more upbeat, entertainment-oriented films. Besides that, though, technology has been a big or bigger factor in determining content. From the silent films, to sound, to color, to cinerama, to 3D, to television, to direct-to-video, and now the incredible abundance of streaming venues, video on demand, niche programming, and a 500-channel cable universe. Genre has really been around since the silent days and is defined as a film category having specific content, style, narrative, conventions, imagery, settings, iconography, and characters or types of characters, all of which evinces a specific emotional response to the material. Horror, to pick one, is a genre. So death is always a threat, usually multiple ones, usually grisly. This genre, however, has been an evergreen for most of the 20th century because it can be relatively inexpensive, not rely on big stars, and is highly promotable. Other major categories of genre include musical, western, historical, action, adventure, romance, and again, the broad heading of comedy. But if you want to write something that falls under one of the aforementioned listed headings, it's important to remember that a moviegoer going to see a film in his or her favorite genre is sitting down to see your movie with a set of preconditions and assumptions you need to satisfy. And that's the easy part. The hard part is that you have to balance the tropes they expect that make it the genre they love with their need to see something new and different. And we'll get into a pretty good example of the evolution of a genre and how it morphed over time to still satisfy audiences while confounding expectations. Now to go a step further, a genre film can be, and oftentimes is, something else, and it's called high concept. A high concept idea is a more recent development in cinema, or at least the use of the term is. It became very buzzworthy among agents and buyers, especially in the 90s, though we can look back over the history of film and really see that high concept goes all the way back to silence. The definition of a high concept film is that it is based on a premise that could be summed up in one sentence, even a few words, sometimes even the title. All of them are simple, all of them are direct, all of them have an almost visceral appeal. I'll never forget years ago reading the pitch of a spec script that sold that I wished I'd thought of. And the description was pretty much this. 5 teens cheat death when they get off an airplane because one of them has a premonition that the airplane's going to crash. It does, and now death, being cheated, is coming after them. That's the logline for the first Final Destination. And I loved how it used the literal concept of cheating death and death not being amused. A friend of mine, Paul Guay, and his partner sold the idea that became the great Jim Carrey vehicle, Liar, Liar, in one sentence to Brian Grazer at Imagine, a lawyer who can't tell a lie. Given everyone's general impression of a lawyer, what a great simple comedic hook where you hear it, you say it, you go, oh, I get that. That's about as high concept as it gets. And let me remind you of a few writer-directors who began in genre. Among them, Francis Ford Coppola, George Lucas, James Cameron, Joel Coen, Catherine Bigelow, Sam Raimi, Peter Jackson, Ridley Scott, and Steven Spielberg. They all got their start in horror and science fiction genres. Secondly, the strength of this approach of thinking in the genre area, be it regular genre or high concept, is that it gives you a built-in audience. It is invariably something that is highly promotable. And the concept doesn't depend on big stars. The concept is the star. Again, look at the Final Destination and Saw franchises. All those things give you a huge leg up from the standpoint of a sale. Low budget, great hook, no stars necessary. Remember some lessons back when I said the cost of the average American production, in large part because of tentpole and superhero movies, was now approximately $140 million. The first Saw cost $1.2 million, and on initial release, grossed $103 million. And that doesn't include all the ancillary sources of income afterwards. But whether it's high concept or not in genre, in the execution of the narrative, you have to have something that still delivers on the standard tropes, and again, then builds upon them. So, if you want to work in genre, whatever its category or subcategory, this is the level to which you should aspire. This is the level to which you have to understand it. And this is the reason to do it, to take the established and advance it. And in advancing it, bringing your own original voice to and making it your own. As I said way back in lesson 1, you've got to do better than what you see.